Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Trader Talks, where today we're going to talk about Duolingo. They had their earnings out last night and it is safe to say it didn't go too well, but we're going to have a look at the chart. We'll discuss why. And I want to know what you're all thinking. Do you think this is an opportunity to buy the dip? Do you think more downside is coming? If you're on the podcast and you want to check out the chart, you know where to find the link. Do always remember that the presentation is for educational purposes only. It should not be taken as investment advice, personal recommendation, or an offer of or solicitation to buy or sell any financial instruments. So let's get into it then. What happened? It's fair to say, as we headed into the report, it was an important one. We were trading on a multi-year support level, a very key area, and ended up falling 20%, 24% it is currently down at the time of recording. There was soft forward bookings. Broader concerns were there about AI and the competitiveness as well. And that really weighed on the stock, despite their earnings on some fronts being actually okay. They beat on certain metrics. There were valuation worries, I think it's fair to say. The valuations were high, and therefore you got to expect it to be amazing to continue to go on and on and on. So that has led to a little bit of sell-off. You've had a technical break as well, so a lot of stops would have got triggered. But I do now wonder, and we'll look at the chart very shortly, whether this is an opportunity for people to start loading up again. And again, I want to know what you're all thinking. Going forward, ultimately, obviously, fundamentals rule everything, but we'll look at the chart technically. I think going forward, we'll have to keep an eye on that subscriber growth, the competitive landscape as well. I mean, if you think about it, especially with AI, in theory, right, you could go on to ChatGPT and maybe learn how to learn a new language. But do people want to do that? Duolingo obviously isn't just about languages. They've got loads of other offerings as well. So let's get into the chart then. And hopefully for those that are in the podcast and want to see, you are about to click the YouTube link. I'm waving at you all now. But this was the support level it was trading on. And when I say multi-year, I actually meant this year. But 3 times you could see we came down to test in and around $263, right? Support here went higher all the way to an all-time high. Came back down, went higher and pushed back to 360. We were trading right on it on the earnings report. So if it had been deemed to be good, the report, you'd imagine, the price would start pushing back towards that level of resistance that we had earlier this year. Of course, that isn't the case, and we've ended up moving significantly lower. We're trading at around 195, so below $200. Now, in terms of, and let's just mark that up where we're going to be trading. So we're trading roughly around here. So we're below now what would have been another level people would have been looking at 212. So each one of these blue lines that I've drawn on are what I call now areas of interest, where I'd expect there to be a reaction because there was before. So what, of course, can happen with this now is price, when the market opens, these are levels where price can react from, and the sellers will want to take over to send us potentially lower. But of course, for those that do think this is an opportunity, is it a case of waiting for the old break above to get involved as well? Or are you now, and again, let me know in the chat what you're all thinking, are you eyeing up maybe 174? What an area. You can see going back to July 2023, early part of 2024, multiple times we had a reaction here, whether it be support or resistance. And it'd be the first time we've gone back to this level since last summer. So assuming this happens, it'd be really interesting to see what we do around 174. The bulls will want to see something like that. Of course, it's never going to be that straightforward. Of course it isn't. But that's the key level. That's the line in the sand now that I'm focusing on. And I imagine other traders will as well. Failing that, 142, an obvious key level as well. The low of 2024 and 2023 quarter four. You can see there, very important zone as well. So in terms of areas to target below, I imagine for sellers, because of course there will be people that are short this stock, where would you look to take profit? Well, I think both 174 and 142 would be areas of interest. And it is worth saying, okay, if price does get to the 174 level, 67% drawdown from that all-time high. Of course, we're already in a bear market. But some people look at that and say, well, if we go back to all-time high at any point, it's a 200% return. So for what you would be risking for the reward, some people might like the look of that. I think with these stocks as well, it's always worth having on your moving averages. We're going to, of course, be below the key ones. It's bring in the 200-day moving average here, 200. You can see we're significantly below that. We're going to be significantly below the 100 as well, both way above where we're trading. And of course, the 50, albeit a little bit closer, significantly below that as well. We got this on the daily chart at the moment. I quite like using the weekly 200-day moving average. We haven't really had enough trading to get into all of that, but it is something worth maybe having on it at some point as well. Also, some people will use RSI and keep an eye on that on the open just to see how oversold we are. And then when you look at previous points where we've been significantly oversold, we have at times pushed higher after that as well. Historically, you go back to where we were in August at that key level back in August 2024, we end up rallying significantly. So a few things to have on later on. For those that are I like the stock but don't want to catch a falling knife, there's a couple things you could do. Is wait for, and I'm not saying it does happen, but if price gets back above 260, then that's your opportunity there for sort of confirmation that the sellers have been exhausted, the buyers are stepping back in. That will remain a key level for the rest of time. No guarantee, of course, we get there, but the market will focus on it. But to the downside, 174 looks interesting as a place for a reaction. Not saying it goes higher or lower, but a place where it reacts, as does 142. Interestingly enough as well, there will be some people that think, oh, wow, down 25% in a day, it's too much. What happens if we get back above 212, reclaim that, and then push to the upside as well? So let me know what you're thinking fundamentally, but also technically, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trader Talks.